The real estate market is only going up from here. You can't lose in real estate. You better buy now before you can't afford to. Rates are so low, you better lock in now before you miss the opportunity. We've all heard these sayings before when the real estate market is heating up, and today is no different. We've seen record price appreciation year over year, interest rates are still hovering at record lows, buyer demand is high, and housing inventory is still really low. But the reality is there is a lot of uncertainty in the market and what will happen in the future, and people are concerned that the market will correct or there's going to be a real estate crash. And the truth is these statements tend to provoke FOMO, the fear of missing out. And FOMO tends to create an emotional response, which leads to irrational decision making, which may not necessarily be the best to help you achieve your long-term financial goals. Which brings us to the real question today. Buy real estate now or wait for a market crash? In today's video, we're going to discuss 4 ways that you can take your focus off the price and redirect your attention towards solid fundamentals that will help reduce or eliminate the emotional-based decision-making. Plus, if you stay till the end of the video, I'm going to share a pro tip with you which will help you focus on the correct price point that might better insulate you from market corrections in the future. Welcome to Macro Thinker. If you're new to the channel, please consider smashing that like button right here to help push this content to more people, and tap that subscribe button to see more weekly videos on finance, real estate, and investing. My name is Lewis. Let's get it. Number 1, employment stability. So having the ability to repay your mortgage relies heavily on income, which means that employment stability and longevity is probably one of the most important things you should consider if you're purchasing a home in today's market. And due to the pandemic, some industries were disproportionately impacted. We'll touch on that in a minute, but first let's take a look at the unemployment numbers and see what kind of story that tells. All right, so up on the screen, I have a chart of the unemployment rate. This is from the St. Louis Fed. It's dating back pre-1950, and you can see the percentage here of unemployment on this side, and then you can see the year on the bottom here. You can see the different peaks and valleys along the way, but there's 2 major things that I want to discuss with you. The first is at the height of the great financial crisis in 2010, we saw unemployment reach about 10%. From there, we've had a steady decline going to a low in January of 2020 at approximately 3.5%. We saw a dramatic spike in unemployment due to the pandemic, and it peaked in April of 2020 nearly at 15%. From there, it's obviously gotten much better, and we're sitting at about 6.2% as of February of 2021. Now that we know where the unemployment rate is, I have another article that I want to share with you titled How the Pandemic Has Affected the U.S. Labor Market. And what's interesting here is they reveal some of the data in a more clear and concise fashion, so we know exactly what's transpiring. Couple key points here. It states that the youngest workers saw the biggest decline in employment, and that the leisure and hospitality sector actually lost the most jobs early on in the pandemic. So leisure and hospitality would be things like restaurants, travel, hotels, waiters, waitresses, things like that. It also states that the lowest earning occupations were actually hit the hardest by the pandemic. And if you scroll down, it goes on to say that 35% of workers ages 16 through 19 years old lost their jobs. 30% of those that lost their jobs were 20 to 24 years old, and then the job losses for other age groups ranged from 11 to 16%. So most of the job losses actually impacted people that were 24 years of age or younger, but there's still a sizable amount that impacted people that were older than that. So the reason I mention unemployment and the industries that were impacted the greatest is because as a potential home buyer, you want to be looking at what your income potential will be, not just in 1 year, 2 years, but maybe out as far as 10 years. And then taking it a step further is the company that you're currently working for or the job that you currently have, are they starting to migrate over to remote work? Are you working from home? Do you still go into a physical location? And how do you think that will unfold here in the next maybe 1 to 2 years? And if you think things are going to change, do you feel confident in your ability to keep your income level the same as it is today, if not higher? Number 2, affordability. So many people are focused specifically on price when it comes to real estate. And I understand it because we've seen price appreciation year over year for more than the last decade. Right now alone, the median home price in California is at a record high, sitting at just over $700,000. But I want you to keep in mind that just because $700,000 is the median home price throughout all of California, many of the regions in different areas vary. And so some areas, the housing is much cheaper. Some areas, the housing is more expensive. It's all local. So it's important to pay attention to that. But putting the price aside for a second, I want to focus on affordability and payment. The reality is that 65% of home buyers require financing to purchase a home. And so interest rates have a large impact on your monthly payment and therefore directly impact affordability. So I have up on the screen a chart that shows the Housing Affordability Index. And this is provided by the California Association of Realtors, and it dates back to 2006. This basically reveals is the percentage of households that can buy a median home price. We saw affordability was very low in 2006, 2007, and 2008. It was hovering at maybe 10, 12%. That was leading into the great financial crisis. The affordability peaked in 2009, 2010, 11, and 12, closer to that 50% range. And since then, 2013 forward, we've actually seen the affordability come down slightly to right around the 30% range. But the most important thing I want to point out to you on this chart is that even when you're looking at 2021, where it shows that affordability is hovering at about 27% today, that figure really hasn't changed much if you look back all the way to 2013. The reason why affordability hasn't changed too much is because interest rates have steadily declined this entire time, giving the buyer more purchasing power. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because just because the price is going up, it's not the only thing that we need to focus on. We need to focus on affordability, and in order to do that, we need to take a look at where interest rates are because they impact your monthly payment. Number 3, time horizon. So this is the length of time you intend to hold that property. And it's important to take a look at because a 2-year hold is much different than a 10-year hold. So you need to ask yourself questions like, are you looking to purchase your first home and maybe stay in it for 2 to 4 years and then sell it and upgrade to something new? Or are you looking to purchase a home, maybe live in it for a couple years, turn it into a rental, and then exit that property in 10 to 12 years? It makes a dramatic difference. And the reason I mention this is because over time, inflation tends to take the prices of real estate higher. And to demonstrate that, let's take a look at the median home price over the last 60 years or so. So up on the screen, I have a chart from the St. Louis Fed showing the median house price in the United States, and the chart dates back to about 1960. You can see the overwhelming trend in real estate prices is higher. There's a few peaks and valleys, but in the long run, inflation tends to take the price higher. The longer you hold the property, the higher the probability that the home will increase in value due to inflation, your mortgage debt will be paid down, and that combination over time will help you build your wealth and increase your net worth. Number 4, understanding your real estate needs. So this comes down to the individual person or couple that's looking to purchase a home. But the idea is you want to distinguish between what you need in housing and what you want. Let me give you an example. If you're a single guy or gal and you currently rent a studio apartment for, let's say, $1,000 a month, your income is stable and you want to invest in a home because you feel like you're throwing your money away towards rent. Let's say the median home price in your area is $450,000, and that will cost you around $2,800 per month to purchase your home. The monthly payment increase would be $1,800 plus utilities will most likely be higher than what you're currently paying in your studio. So now, even if this is affordable based on your income level, does the increase in expense make sense? And taking it a step further, what is the opportunity cost you're giving up by spending the additional $1,800? For example, could you invest that money somewhere else and get a higher return? Or is the fact that you could uproot and leave your apartment after your lease ends more appealing than a 30-year commitment? In the end of everything, it's always good to review your personal needs and wants and then make an educated decision on what's right for you. And that brings us to our pro tip of the day. So if you're concerned about the market crashing, if you feel the political landscape is uncertain, or if you're afraid of getting stuck in a bad situation, then my suggestion would be buy at least 10% below the median home price in your area. So as an example, let's say you live in the Sacramento region and the median home price in February of 2021 is sitting at about $500,000. And we take a $500,000 median income, we multiply that by 0.9, that gives us 10% below the median, puts the target price point at $450,000. You may be asking yourself, why is 10% below the median a good price point to target? And there are a couple reasons for that. For starters, it's likely the most affordable price point in your area, which means that if the market corrects or unemployment spikes or the income goes down, folks that could have purchased at a higher price point are likely to be pulled down closer to that median point. Secondly, a home purchased 10% below the median price point is more likely to cash flow if you turn it into a rental, or at the very least break even. But that's not to say that it will, so make sure that you know your numbers either way. And lastly, the median home price is likely to see a smaller swing in value if the market were to crash like it did in 2007 and 2008. For example, we saw price points that were over $1 million. They lost 50% of their value, whereas homes that were priced around the median home price maybe lost 20 to 30%. It's still not ideal. It's just less bad. All right, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. If you found the information useful, please consider tapping that subscribe button to see more weekly content on finance, real estate, and investing. And if you haven't done so already, please consider smashing that like button to push the content out to more people. It really helps grow and promote the channel. Thank you again so much for watching. You have a great day. We'll see you on the next video. Take care.